Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conservatives Cool Talk Radio. This is your host, Wayne Bradley. I want to thank you for listening in tonight. We got a few issues we're going to talk about tonight. I've got a special guest here. His name is Bill Randall, and he's running for the U.S. House of Representatives for the 13th District of North Carolina. He has a great story. He's a great patriot, and I'm glad everyone's listening in this evening. Like I said, I've put a lot of emphasis this month on shining light on different black conservatives, and I hope that you're listening in tonight because like I said, we have a very special guest, and his name is Bill Randall. So without any further ado, I'm going to be bringing Bill on the show, and we'll get started with this interview. So I hope everyone's listening. Thanks again for listening. His website is randallforcongress.com if you want to know more about Bill. So I encourage you to check out the website because it gives you a lot of information about his background and exactly how he came to this situation and why he's running for Congress. So the website again is randallforcongress.com. I'll be sending it out also later on my tweet. So listen in, and thank you all again for listening in this evening. So now, without any further ado, I'm about to bring on Bill Randall, and I believe he's out on the road, so I really appreciate him for taking the time out to get this interview.
All right, Wayne, thank you very much for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. As I was reading more about, and like I said, we've been tweeting back and forth. I think I want to let everybody know one of the first times that you caught my attention actually was when my daughter was in the hospital a few months ago, and I put out a tweet that said that I'm going into the hospital, and you were one of the very first people that sent back prayers and let me know that I was in your thoughts and prayers that day. So from there on, I wanted to know more about you, and I wanted to say thank you. I appreciate that. And again, that like I said, the more research I've done, the more I've read about you on your website and seen different YouTube postings, the more I respected you. What made you decide to run for Congress? I guess that'll be the first question. And before we get into that, can you give me a little background information about you? You're starting with your business background and your personal life, and then leading on to what made you get involved in politics?
Right. Okay. Well, you asked for a number of things. First of all, I'm retired military. I was in the Navy for a little over 27 years. And after I got out of the military, and just because I'm moving on from the military, it doesn't mean I'm diminishing the significance of it. As a matter of fact, we're probably going to come back to it. But to go on to the business aspect of it, I actually worked as an independent insurance agent. I had my own business, and so I know things involved in that. And I have an MBA degree, and I've gone on and I worked 3 years with the Veterans Administration. I actually was a claims adjudicator for the Department of Veterans Affairs, and I got a lot of experience of helping veterans and family members with their pension benefits. From there, I went on, and a significant move after that was working for a major management consulting firm. I actually worked 3 years knocking on doors of businesses, and I literally touched base with over 15,000 businesses in a 3-year period. And in literally every industry in the private sector, I have been in there, anywhere from people who work in just the manufacturing, wholesale, retail, you name it. I've been in there to talk to the business owners or decision makers. And that broadened my perspective as well. And I think in looking at the direction of the country, I think a lot of times people look at their circumstances and they say, well, things are bad, and they want to look at and point the finger at someone. Well, instead of staying on the sidelines, I think that with my military background, with the things that my parents instilled in me coming up, with my business background and my education and life experiences as well, I think that I bring a number of things to the table that enable me to be someone who can bring some real solutions to apply to these very, very gigantic issues we have before us. And
right.
So that's why I'm running.
Okay, and I think something that's also important, as like I said, for everybody listening, if you go to his website, Randall for Congress, you can get all of Bill's information. It also says here that you grew up in the 9th Ward in Louisiana. And so, again, I think that I'm 33 years old. I think that it needs to be more emphasis placed on people like yourself. The only people I know being from Detroit that came out of those areas are, rappers. That's what I hear about the most, being up here. And it's just like you're a great role model for young people. And I think that maybe explaining to people that it began, like you said, maybe with humble beginnings. And it doesn't always have to, you have the vision, and being in the military kind of puts you in a different frame of mind to come to the decision you're at now.
Okay, well, I appreciate your, calling me a role model, but I'm going to tell you who the real role models are. My role models and the role models for people of success were those who invested in their lives, and it starts with my parents.
Okay.
And our parents taught us to respect others, love for God, family, country. They taught us by actions and examples instead of just preaching at us. They showed us by example the way to do it. And in the culture, regardless of the culture you're speaking of, whether you're talking the inner city or the urban areas or the rural areas, it doesn't matter where you're talking. One of the biggest factors that plays into the success of a young life is whether or not there are two parents to raise that child and nurture them the way they're supposed to. And it really is not as much dependent on their socioeconomic conditions as the family structure. And I think too often we've lost sight of the fact that it's the family unit that has been torn down, and then government is stepping in to fill in where family and church should be vibrant and active. And because there's been a dearth in the leadership in those two very important sectors, the family and the church, we have people looking to government to answer the situations that government has no business in.
Right, exactly. What do you think about, and this is just something I've been doing some research on, as far as funding for teaching abstinence in school instead of so much emphasis on safe sex and this sort of thing? George Bush had that part of his agenda is actually pushing abstinence education. Do you think that's a realistic, in particular within the African American community where 70% of the kids are born out of wedlock? Do you believe that would be something we should invest more in or invest less in as far as, especially as a Christian, obviously, to maybe promoting abstinence more than we're just promoting safe sex?
Yeah, well, why don't we look at, you see, whenever you're talking about liberals, for example, they're going to have a double standard when it comes to things that people should and shouldn't do. Now, let's look at this issue that they call so-called tolerance. And let's say someone who is being teased because of their sexual orientation. There's no call for that to be something that is, just going to be tolerated, or you're just going to encourage people to go in the right direction. No, they take it a step to say that it is not going to be tolerated, that there's going to be a zero tolerance on that. Okay, I agree that there should be no place in society where people are going to persecute and they're going to treat others harshly because of decisions that they make as far as their lifestyle, even though I don't necessarily subscribe to it. But at the same time, you look at the situation with abstinence, and they say, no, you can't teach abstinence because abstinence has a religious overtone. Wait a minute. We need to look and say, is this behavior that you're going to say, okay, well, the kids are going to have sex anyway, you may as well teach them how to properly do it. Well, you're already subscribing to the notion that this is acceptable and encouraged behavior. No, we need to go back to the step and say, wait a minute. There are a lot of us who own pets, and are we going to let our pets run? There are a lot of us who wouldn't think of letting our pets run out there and heat and mate with anything that comes along. No, we're gonna keep that dog under wraps. Now, we're going to do that for our animals. You're telling me we're going to have less concern for our children? I don't think so. So I think that the mindset needs to be, instead of saying the children are going to have sex anyway, we need to take a bold and fresh approach and say, you know what, you need to start looking at reading, writing, arithmetic, things that are going to empower you and are going to enable you to succeed out there. And you need to subscribe to a lifestyle that shows respect for yourself and not put you out there in a position to where people can view you as a piece of trash or something that can be used for their own gratification. So, yeah, I think abstinence is something that we need to take a hard look at, because it is something that, if you look at the numbers, it has proven to be successful every case in which it's been tried.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it just, to me, it seems like you said, that liberals will use that as a reason to say it has religious overtones, but the bottom line is, the further we move away from anything that has to do with God, the worse this country is becoming. I know a lot of people, liberals will have a real issue with that, but I mean, certain things is right and wrong, and that we should, honestly, teaching 7- and 8-year-olds how to properly have sex, and not, young children, that is disturbing. And the fact that we rather not put, like you said, invest more into abstinence education as opposed to sex education, it's something that just blows my mind.
If I may, I'm sorry. If I may interject something real quick here. Here in the great state of North Carolina, the great Tar Heel state, we have a liberal General Assembly where the Democrat majority has allowed sex education training in schools to children that are very young, and the proposal was so vile, the curriculum was so vile that they could not even read key excerpts from the training on the floor of the General Assembly. That's how vile and corrupt it was, and it was reprehensible. No, we need to look at people that have a backbone to stand up, to put legislators in there that are going to do the right thing, and call these people who are writing this reprehensible agenda and putting that in the schools to teach our children. We need to turn that around, and it's going to take people getting involved. It's going to take them getting off of their couches. It's going to take them getting involved at the grassroots level, seeing the candidates that represent their interests, and then go out there and help put those people in office.
How is your opponent, Brad Miller? How has he stood on a lot of these on the education issues as far as that? How did he feel about that? I've read a little bit about him as far as some of his other his gun rights and his abortion rights issues, but how did he vote on any of that, on those kind of issues?
Well, again, as far as the legislation I was speaking of, I'm speaking of things that were being put forth in the General Assembly with the Senate and the House in North Carolina. But as far as similar legislation on the national level, Brad Miller has one of the most liberal records of any congressman, not just being the most liberal from North Carolina, but he is one of the most liberal congressmen in the entire U.S. House of Representatives. So, yes, I would say that whether it comes to, promoting agendas that would promote such a lifestyle of promiscuity and, safe sex and safe, sterilizing needles in the inner city, instead of looking at making hard, fast decisions to help people truly be liberated from lifestyles of bondage. I think that Brad Miller has not done things that would help people. He's done things that would continue the legacy of their being dependent on government and beholden and dependent upon a handout that is going to keep these people dependent on an ever-expanding government. And that is absolutely wrong and irresponsible.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, if they get a chance, go to votesmart.org, and you can really get all the research you want to know about any person that's in office right now. And it looks like he's voted for a lot of different. I'm looking at his more recent votes as far as expanding the limits on the debt limit, the debt ceilings. So he's definitely for, like you said, big government. Also, now tell me this, I've always thought that North Carolina being a red state, how does he get by with his anti-gun rules? He seems to be very anti-gun.
See, I think that we who really are in favor of this great republic and in favor of the constitutional rights of citizens, I think we've taken our eye off the ball, because when these people come for office, we've allowed them to flood the airwaves with a barrage of commercials and other things that highlight some supposed positive legislation that they've put forth. And we haven't supported other candidates who are closely in tune with the Constitution and citizens' rights. And because we haven't supported them the way we should, their funding and their ability to get their message out is drowned out by the barrage of information that's on the airways with the Democrat, who has a lot of money to invest and a lot of money to put out there. So I think that if we have the mindset of supporting our candidates that are strong, candidates who support the principles that we believe in, that and support them not just with word, but with action and with our finances, if we give them the financial backing, they will be able to counter this with effective ads that will get the message out on where these liberals stand. But we haven't been doing a good job at underwriting our candidates the way we should. You cannot win without money, and my campaign is no exception.
I understand. And again, if people are listening right now, go to Randall for Congress, check out his website, look at all his information, and I'm sure you have the donation page there. We need people to help good candidates out. And if you like what he's saying, you like the positions he stands on, which as a real conservative, I don't see how you couldn't. He stands on all the right ways, on the positions on the right to life, Second Amendment rights, and like I said, so people, if you're listening, please check him out on that. So far, have you been getting, how's the campaign been going? Have you been receiving support from your local GOP and from people like that?
Well, in fairness to the local North Carolina GOP, they are not going to throw their support behind a candidate prior to the primary. I mean, they're going to remain impartial. They're going to remain unbiased, at least, to not give the perception that they favor one candidate over the other. The only way that they would probably come out about one candidate versus another is that if you had one candidate that clearly did not support, that clearly did not support the precepts and the planks of the party platform, then they would actually come out and let everyone know, even though they have the Republican label, this is not someone who expresses our values. But unless you have someone that has some egregious thing in their past or something like that, they generally stay away from it and let the primary process take care of it.
When did you decide to run for Congress? When did you, and what were the main factors that made you want to get involved?
Okay, I actually ran for chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party, and the convention was this past June, and I came in a distant, and I'm going to underline the word distant, I came in a distant third out of 4 candidates. But the process of going across the state of North Carolina, and I'm a relative newcomer to the state, but let me tell you something. I got out there and met a lot of people, and I was not able to travel as much as I wanted to, but one of the things I did was whenever I was invited by a particular county, a lot of times candidates will go and do a hit and run. They'll come and they'll show their face, say something to the crowd, and run. I guess it became a little bit of a liability for me, because when I was invited, I took that the county extended a welcome to me. I went there, I met them. I stayed after all of their proceedings were done. I took time to talk to them afterwards, shake their hand, answer their questions. But I believe an engaging style like that is something where you actually get to see where the people are coming from. And it was a result of doing that, I got to hear more and more that people felt that their voices were not being heard, that the people in the party bosses and the powers that be will throw a bone at them every once in a while, and that's why I got involved to run for chairman. And then in the process, we saw after the convention was over, I saw that there was a need for someone to challenge the Democrat Brad Miller, because people were very dissatisfied. My wife and I prayed about it, and we had a piece about it, and we got involved in the race, officially announcing on the 1st of July, 2009. We've been running ever since, and actually, in the state of North Carolina, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think there's another candidate who's been campaigning in the state of North Carolina longer than I have, because I've been campaigning since January of 2009 and haven't stopped ever since, because after the chairman race was over, I immediately went to the North Carolina GOP race. But I'm happy to meet the people, to find out where they're coming from, to make sure that I let them know where I stand, and I want to be a good representative for them. And our slogan is we're not going to bring Congress to the people. We're going to bring the people to Congress.
There you go. That sounds real good. What is your typical day like right now while you're on the campaign trail?
Oh boy. Well, right now we're taking a hiatus from it. Unfortunately, I'm on my way down. My mother passed away, and and we're burying her on Thursday. I'm not saying that in any way, but to say that she is one of the main reasons why I am who I am today, because she planted things of faith that she believed in our lives, and the legacy of my mother and my father, and of course my Lord, who I'm not ashamed of. I want to go down there, and we're going to. This is a homecoming for her. This is not a time of sadness. Of course, we're going to miss her, but this is her homecoming. If you're a person of faith, it's a homecoming. And after that, we're going to come back. But the typical day is we're on the phone. I'm on the phone making phone calls to people, letting them know who I am, or reminding them of who I am, and then going from there and telling them we need their support, and soliciting campaign support, the funding, and that's one of the main things I have to do. The top three things for a candidate are raise money, and raise money.
I appreciate the honesty right there. That's the truth. I want to say I'm sorry to hear about your mother, and definitely your family will be in my prayers. Where are you driving to?
We're driving from North Carolina. We're making a pit stop at my wife's sister's house near Atlanta, okay. And then tomorrow morning we're going to get on the road, and we're going to get into New Orleans early afternoon. Make a round to see some family and make final arrangements, and then we're going to have the homecoming on Thursday, and then we'll return, making our way back to North Carolina on Saturday.
You're definitely your family is definitely in my thoughts and prayers. I'm sure everybody that's listening tonight is feeling the same way. I was going to ask you were you going to be able to attend the CPAC conference, but obviously you're not. I'm going to be there, and like I said, I'm definitely, that's something that I appreciate you even calling in tonight. Like you said, you're on the road right now. And you said you'll be back on Saturday, and you'll be back to campaigning on Monday again?
We'll be back on Sunday. We'll get into North Carolina on Sunday. And, of course, it doesn't stop, my friend. It doesn't stop. These people who are anti-constitutionalists, when I was in the military, we took an oath saying that we would support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And unfortunately, we've got a bunch of domestic people that are enemies based on their actions. And Edmund Burke said the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing.
Okay, bye.
That's very true. That's very true. Well, let's see. I got another couple questions here for you. As far as family life, I guess I always ask this: how's the family, and do you have any sons and daughters, or what's your family situation like over there?
Yes, I've got a son and 4 daughters. I've got starting from the oldest, the daughter is an attorney out in the Los Angeles area. She's got 3 kids. She hasn't been able to practice because she's been raising those small kids. When they get older, she's going to start practicing.
All right.
And my son, I'm proud of my son. He's 28 years old. He was in the Navy. He got electronics training. He's now working in the Los Angeles area. He's just trying to work wherever there's employment. And he's just continued to move forward on that. I've got another daughter that is going to finish grad school this spring, and then she's going to move on. And another one that's a junior in college, and she wants to teach in the inner city when she graduates. And then the youngest is 13 in middle school, and she's just doing well. And my wife works as a substance abuse rehabilitation counselor, and she's mainly the reason why I'm in North Carolina, because we were in Florida, and she got a promotion to North Carolina. And I said, dear, you followed me in my military career, and now it's your turn. So okay. I followed her to North Carolina.
All right.
And here we are.
Great story. That's a great story. And so I'll tell you what. I'm gonna get the website again. Bill Randall for Congress. I want people who listen in. I'm gonna tweet this tonight too. Make sure that this show, you can actually embed this onto your website too. So if people are come to your website, they can also listen to this interview at a later time. Well, I was gonna add a few more questions for you here. You've been so far with your campaign. Have with the GOP challengers, has everything been a clean campaign down there? Has it been getting ugly or anything? Has it?
We have, I'm not going to accuse anybody of being an opportunist. People have their reasons for getting into the race. I can tell you this: when the Tea Parties were going on, when the tide was looking pretty bleak, when it was, people were saying that the Democrats were just going to, take things and have it their way and everything else. I still was out there with them. I still was in D.C., and you know what? When the tide has changed now, it looks like it's becoming more favorable for conservatives, for Republicans. You have people now want to emerge as if they've been there all along. Well, I'm going to let the people determine what that's all about. But I'm going to tell you this. Come rain or shine, come good times or bad, I am going to be there to, speak consistent with what the people believe in. Yes, there are other Republican challenges, but I think once people do a comparison and look to see what I stand for, look at my background and everything, I think they'll see that I'm the person who would be their best representative in Washington, D.C. I must say that based on what I bring to the table, let the chips fall where they may.
All right. Well, I think I got one caller here that's been on the line. They might want to ask, I got a call in here. Do you want to take that call? Let's take that call real quick, okay?
Go ahead.
All right, let's see here. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Bill Randall.
Hello.
How are you doing? I want to thank you very kindly for stepping up and challenging Brad Miller this season.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Where are you calling from, sir?
I'm
Say again?
Wake Forest. I'm in Wake Forest.
Okay.
This is
good.
Joffrey Hurlbert. We're friends on Twitter network. I'm running for NC Senate 14 this season.
Outstanding. Well, you keep the good fight up.
Yeah, I want to thank you for bringing up the point about fatherlessness and unwed childbearing in America, and I had some figures for you.
All right.
Uh-huh.
There was a report that was issued in the middle of 2008 from the Institute for American Values and the Institute for Marriage and Public Policy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Annually in North Carolina, unwed childbearing and fatherlessness is costing the taxpayers $1.329 billion.
Yeah.
That's a staggering figure that we can make a positive change for.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm glad that you bring statistics, because that actually highlights what it is. But you know what? It takes more than statistics. It takes people that have the means and the wherewithal to roll up their sleeves and actually get in those communities where those individuals are and reach out and bring some meaningful help to them. And I'm not talking about government handouts. There are a lot of community agencies that are getting involved to help those that are fatherless, help those that are in blighted conditions. And I would challenge all of my fellow conservatives to look for opportunities to reach out, so that you don't just be someone who's quoting statistics, but you're actually getting in there and getting involved with the community. And with that in mind, we're actually making a move, and we're trying to mobilize some efforts, even from this campaign, to make a difference to those people and those lives.
This is a cornerstone of my campaign this year. It's related to what you were talking about earlier, but it has to do with when there's a dispute in custody in the judiciary and the district courts, 5 out of 6 times that custody is awarded to the mother.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And my contention is that if the judiciary took a more shared responsibility approach to solving those types of custody disputes,
right,
we would single-handedly start taking that $1.329 billion back to the
right,
taxpayer in savings, because, as you were saying earlier, the difference in education is not all of those other things. The one thing that makes the difference is a father in that child's life. And the district court system has been making decisions for decades, sidelining fathers to visitor status, or
right,
in general, just non-custodial parents. And we have actually submitted a bill to the legislature on Tuesday to deal with the best interest standard in this state.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Maybe we can. You shoot me. You following me on Twitter?
I got you.
All right. Well, send me a direct message or something. Maybe we can get you on the show one week. But I appreciate you for calling in.
I'd love to. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your call. Very good call.
Thanks a lot. God bless you. Have a good evening. Okay.
Wayne, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Bill. Let me hang. Bill?
Okay.
All right, we're making sure we got the call off the line there. All right, well, that was, again, it sounds like we got some other people that are believing in here, but also for the same cause of a better America there. So, like you said, we got to get more than just the stats in. We got to really, like you said, roll up our sleeves and really get in these communities where we can make a difference. And, again, that's right. Why I thought that you were a great candidate. And, I really appreciate the fact that you don't hide your faith, and that's helped guide and make a lot of, help you make these decisions. And, again, nowadays that we need more honesty and more politicians that are willing to admit that, because a lot of these guys are running from that for some reason, and I think that has a lot to do with some of the decay of our country, is people running away from their faith instead of just being honest and sometimes letting that faith guide you. So I appreciate you coming on the show. I'm going to try to get down there sometime soon. I would love to be there now. It's probably a lot warmer than it is here in Michigan right now. Do you have any upcoming events coming up that you might want to tell us about?
Oh, we have a number of them. Just keep looking at your. If you're not a member of the Randall for Congress campaign, you can go on Facebook and you can become a fan. And we announce a lot of things, a lot of events that are there. If you want to get involved in any way, or you have some specific questions or anything that you want to interface with the campaign, you can send an email to victory@randallforcongress.com. Check out the website. If you want to leave some notes at the guest book, feel free to do so. If you want to leave contact information, you can do it there too. But we announce things, and we're getting a calendar that we're going to start posting things even more regularly on what's happening. Right now, Facebook is one of the ways that we're getting the word out, but we have other media that we are putting out there as well. So go ahead and become a fan on the Randall for Congress Facebook page.
All right. Well, I appreciate you so much for coming on the show. Again, your family's in my prayers. I want to have you back on the show. We're going to follow you up until November, and hopefully we can see you victorious. So I appreciate you again for coming on the show. God bless you, and have a safe trip there and back, okay?
Thank you, sir. And also, I'm sorry to mention, I didn't mention Twitter, Randall4NC, the number 4NC, Randall4, the number 4NC, Randall4NC. That'll get you at Twitter.
I'm plugging you hard on Twitter. You're you'll probably pick up a nice amount of followers tonight, just me pushing me on there. So I'll definitely make sure I spread the word for you on Twitter also. If you're not gonna, I know you're not gonna be at CPAC. You might want to look into being at the Frederick Douglass Foundation meeting in D.C. next month.
Yes.
18th
Yes.
through 20th. That'll be a great event for you. If you're not,
Yes.
if you haven't booked it yet, you might definitely want to get to that. I'll be there, and I look forward to definitely meeting you.
Yes, sir. Outstanding. I'm looking forward to it as well. You're doing a good job on this show. Thank you so much for the service you provide to everyone. Really meaning it.
Trying my best. I appreciate you. I'm trying my best, like I said, to give people options and let people hear it, because sometimes the big media is not trying to give everyone a voice. So I really do appreciate you coming on the show, sir.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much
well,
for the
we'll
opportunity.
definitely have you on the show again. God bless you and have a safe trip.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening to the audience. All the best to everybody. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was Bill Randall, running for Congress, 13th District of North Carolina. Again, I'm glad he took the time to come on the show for us here this evening. His opponent, Brad Miller, again, is one of the most liberal congressmen. I tell everybody, if you get a chance, the website now is votesmartdark.org. You can punch in any of your local politicians, and you can kind of keep up with them on what's going on. The whole point of this month in particular, I've been highlighting black conservatives throughout the country that are running for positions all throughout the country, because in reality, most of the mainstream media does not even act like black conservatives exist. They're going out of their way to, like I said, you would not know we exist in certain areas and certain segments of mainstream media and the things they're putting out there. So I feel like I have a duty to do my best to shine light on conservatives, and in particular, sometimes, like I said, African American conservatives, Latino conservatives, and showing that that the party is evolving and there's nothing wrong with that, and that this is just an opportunity to do that. So I appreciate everybody that's listening, and again, I want to thank Bill Randall for coming on the show. Pray for him and his family. His mother recently passed, and they're on the way down to New Orleans for her going home ceremony. So again, pray for him and his family. We're going to talk about a few different issues tonight on the national scene. I want to start off and thank President Obama on behalf of the rest of the Republican Party for doing the things he's doing, because he's essentially handing over so many seats. So many guys are retiring and not running again, and it's not all Obama's fault. I won't put it all on him, but a lot of Democrats are not running again, and quite simply, the gentleman from Indiana yesterday that announced his retirement said he was tired of the partisan games, and he wasn't there to make it. He came there to make a difference, and he can't get it done because both sides are playing partisan games. So it's unfortunate that that's happening, but I'm sure again that a lot of people realizing what's going on here. President Obama he's losing a lot of steam on a lot of different issues on a lot of different fronts. Today, a lot of the a few major corporations pulled out of the Climate Change Alliance. BP, ConocoPhillips, and Caterpillar announced today that they were pulling out of the U.S. Climate Action Partnership, citing complaints that the bills now in Congress are unfair to American industry. At this point, a lot of like I said, these climate change issues are starting to become. I'm starting to wonder if is this just a fraud? Is this just another business that is almost like year 2K business? We're planning on something that's really not going to happen, or something that's not as bad as we're making it out to be. The climate change has been proven in a lot of different ways to have been a phony. These scientists have been hiding information and basically putting out what they want us to know to actually get us to believe that. And we're actually creating, through the President's State of the Union address, he wants to create a whole new economy based off things that might not even come to pass as far as climate change. Now, um, my personal opinion on that is that I think that most of this is just some kind of a liberal agenda. We're suffering right now because of so many different environmental rules in our country. We could be digging more for oil, therefore kind of reducing that dependence that we have on foreign oil. But because of all the different environmental groups and people that will fight you tooth and nail to dig and things like that, it's become a non-issue in certain areas. There's definitely areas in America where we could be digging right now to improve our situation and reliance on foreign oil, but because of these groups, we're forced not to do that. So, President Obama better move fast on a lot of different issues. It looks like healthcare, as we know it, has that bill has been killed, and I'm sure they're still working behind the scenes to put something together. But the bill, as he knew it, is dead. He's losing congressmen by the day, and I think that I don't necessarily know what advice to give him other than to stick by something. I don't know. I'm feeling agnostic here. I'm feeling like the president. I don't want to convince anything. He said he was agnostic now about raising taxes on the middle class, on people that made under the $250,000 threshold. Now, I had a lot of people talk to me like I must have been crazy, but saying, "Oh, that's not going to happen because the assumption was that I made over $250,000." I said, "There's no way physically possible that you can pay for health care the way you want to do it, and that everyone's not going to pay for that. There's just no way." Once the unions decided they wanted the exemption in it, I mean, someone's got to pay for this health care bill, and it's going to be put on the backs of all the American people. It won't just be the richest 5% like they try to make people feel like that it'll be okay just to place all the burden on those people. But that has not happened. Again, at this point, the president is saying that everything is on the table because he can't negotiate if everything's not on the table. Well, you said that raising taxes on people that made under $250,000 during campaign time was off the table. Now it's on the table again. So it looks like again some I don't like to call it lies, but a lot of broken promises that he's made to the American people regarding some of these policies, and it's disappointing. And I think that's where a lot of these congressmen and the fact that Brown could win in Massachusetts in one of the most democratic state in the union probably, and a Republican wins, I think you really have to look at that and question what's going on. And like I said, the Republicans my issue with the Republican Party right now would be the fact that they're not doing anything. They're going to almost let Obama shoot himself in the foot with the moves he's making. But I think still that I would like to see the leadership in the GOP actually come through with some ideas, some policies that at least if they're going to be rejected, at least you can say you've had some. Right now, I'm not seeing that. It's almost like we're stalling and we're just going to not do anything until, I guess, election time in 2010 because it's almost like they're satisfied. And I would warn the Republican Party to not get that complacent, not get that lazy or that confident that that Obama and the Democratic Party are going to fall out on their faces because there's a lot of money behind them. They have a lot of resources, and so again, I can understand with some of the political stalling, but I would like to see some people like John Boehner and Eric Cantor, those guys, the leadership, step up just a little bit and actually set forth some goals and some ideas so we can point and say this is what the party, these are the ideas that you guys have come up with. Now, again, if President Obama continues in the path that he has been, which is ignoring the ideas from the Republican Party, then at least you can say that you legitimately came up with ideas and that we're not just sitting here being, what the liberals like to say, the party of no, because we're not making any moves right now. So I hope that the leadership is going to take some steps towards, again, making some policies and decisions to at least be looked at by the Democrats and by the president, because I think it would be a big mistake for them not to get involved or not to create policies and that sort of thing for the next 8 months, because essentially that's what Nancy Pelosi and them did to George Bush his last year or so or two in office. And again, this is the level of discontent that people have in general with Washington, D.C. is the back and forth game playing. So moving forward, I hope that the Republican Party will be doing that. I am going to CPAC. I will be leaving tomorrow to head to Washington, D.C. I'm really looking forward to this conference, hoping to meet with some great people. I've already talked to a couple people, and I'm looking forward to seeing them down there. John Dennis, who's running against Nancy Pelosi in California. I think that he has an important race. I'll be looking forward to talking with Les Phillips and hopefully Marco Rubio and a whole host of other people down there. I'm really getting excited about the trip. I'm going to also probably do maybe either a broadcast from down there. I'm looking to see if I can get some live interviews while I'm down there, but also doing some Ustream broadcast and some on the hip stuff, so we can really get the grassroots level of talk to these people. I'm not a professional member of the media. I have not been able to get me a media pass down there at CPAC. I'm not saying that I won't be able to get one, but I'm working on trying to pull that off. But I am not a professional member of the media. I'm a normal person, just like you, and just taking the time out to try to make my voice heard and to amplify the voices of others, whether it be candidates, good conservative candidates, or also just normal people that have concerns about the direction of this country. So I'm hoping that more people get involved. The call-in number tonight is 347-996-3175. Like I said, right now we talked mostly. Earlier I had Bill Randall on, who's running for Congress, and like I said, we talked so far about the climate change issues that are going on. And to me, that's just more stuff with the liberals and just saying they passed some kind of bill, because these are all things that just make it harder to do business in America. All these different climate change policies, and that's why we're continually watching jobs, go to other countries, because they're not as prohibitive as they are in America. So I think that while we're thinking of ways to bring in jobs, we ought to also continue to make sure we maintain the jobs we have here by not making it harder for people to do business, whether it be the large corporations or small businesses, with the taxes. That's why we have to look at ways of making incentives for people to do business here, and not raising taxes and not making things more difficult for small businesses and small business owners, because the majority of our job force now is through small businesses. And right now, in the current economy and current climate, it's just hard to make incentive for these companies to invest more and to hire more when they don't know the tax burdens that this administration wants to put on them. This health care bill has loomed over us now for over a year with nothing getting done. And that was with a whole Democratic a majority in there, that they weren't able to get a health care bill done. So the president had better get it together, because a lot of the political capital he's wasted on this health care bill is not getting done. And it looks like climate change is going to be another one that he might want to step back on. I would like to see the president focus more on jobs, and I know some of it is he's coming to Detroit before and basically said that some of these the old jobs aren't there anymore, and that new jobs need to be created. Well, let's not create jobs based off of industry that at any time can be realized is not a need. The climate change that people are so deathly afraid of just does not. I guess while I'm freezing here in Michigan, it went from being it used to be global warming, and because now we proved that it was not global warming anymore. I mean, and that's just how quickly people have to realize and pay attention to the political landscape of what we're doing here. Before it was called global warming. Well, now that global warming is proved to be nothing more than just a term because it's freezing here, and I'm sure in most places throughout the Northeast with all the snow and things we've got plenty of reasons to suggest that global warming is just not it's not something that we need to pull all of our resources into, and creating, all these tax breaks and incentives for businesses to create that. When now it's called climate change. Once global warming wasn't working, you had to change up the term to climate change. So I'm gonna go on my Twitter here to see what I'm getting out here in Twitter land. I'm gonna post a couple more tweets about what's going on here. Thanks again to Bill Randall and his people for having Bill come on the show tonight. Again, I know it's got to be rough with his mother just recently passing. He's driving down to Louisiana to actually call in on the show. That's the kind of person you want running for Congress, someone who's a man of his word, someone who said he was going to do something this evening and did it. And again, coming from where I come from, I'm from Detroit, he's from New Orleans. I really wish, and that's also part of my goal, my show, is to highlight more of young black conservatives, because those are the role models also. Like he said, it started off in his home. I was fortunate enough to have my mom and my dad in my home growing up, and it does make a big difference. But I think that in our community, it definitely needs to be more emphasis placed on, while these children are young, placing more emphasis on abstinence education than sex education. And I think that people really have to pay attention to what's going on. A lot of liberals think that they're actually saving the communities by a lot of these entitlement programs, and that is not the situation. It's put the black community in particular in a bigger hole. The educational system is where we need to be focusing on in urban areas and in rural areas. It needs to be, that's America in general. That kind of puts everybody into it. We need to focus more on our education, and that's starting in the elementary levels, and also placing more focus on the fact that other countries go to school year-round. I don't know if that's going to necessarily work here, but quite frankly, if we're going to compete in this global economy and with other parts of the world from an educational standpoint, that is where we're going to have to get better as a country, because in reality, a lot of the jobs that my parents and people grew up having, working at the Big Three, when you graduated from high school on a Friday, you started work on that Monday, those kind of opportunities right now are just not available, and so education now would be where we need to place more emphasis on now, and I agree with the president in that standpoint that we do need to place more emphasis on it. However, we need to also, with a good plan, it can also be a bad plan. I think that subsidizing everyone's education and then making it a forgivable loan after 20 years would just be a ticking time bomb on our economy. A lot of times liberals and Democrats in general feel that they don't look at government money as our money, and I think that's been the frustration with the people in general dealing with this, is that our politicians are forgetting who we're the ones that get them these jobs, and they forget about that once they get to D.C. or once they get to the Capitol. And I think that, again, that's where the frustration is right now with a lot of the incumbents, and it just so happens to be this time, it happens to be a lot of Democrats that are the incumbents. So they're catching the short end of the stick right now because people are dissatisfied with government, and they are in the majority right now. So there'll be a lot of changes you can expect in 2010. I don't think when Obama was campaigning for change, I don't think this is what he had in mind, because there's going to be a lot of turnover in Congress and in the Senate, because a lot of people are just really genuinely unhappy with the direction of this country. We have a lot right now. We have liberals and progressives that are I would say, hell-bent on keeping God as far away from the equation, making government a bigger part of our lives in a way that that is, that again can be detrimental to not only the future of the people, just overall, but the future of our country, in a financial standpoint, and from and just from where we've always been a leader in the global economy. We're going to start lagging on that, and again, it starts with some strong principles on education, and I hope that the president take heed to that, and also pays attention to what the people are complaining about. Again, at this point, I don't think that the health care bill is going to go through because he's starting to realize that's a losing battle, and I don't know if he wants to continue to use up every bit of capital on something that Democrats are fighting him so hard on. Um, and he's just that might be at this point a dead dog, and he just might not want to go after that one right now. If you're listening in, give me a call, 347-996-3175. If you got any suggestions or any questions you might want me to ask any of these politicians while I'm at CPAC, I want to hear your suggestions. I'm going to go on Twitter and also on the chat boards here. Next week's shows, I've got a couple people coming on for next week. Like I said, next week's shows I'll have on Robert Mansfield, a candidate for governor. Robert Allen Mansfield. It'll be next Thursday at 9 p.m. He's a candidate for governor, and I also believe I'll have Corey Brinson on Tuesday at 9 p.m. He's a candidate for Secretary of State in Connecticut. So it was a great, in Black History Month, like I said, I put an emphasis on trying to shine some light on some of these black conservatives throughout the country that are running for office and we're in a primary stage right now, so you want to, again, get people the help they can and some support because we want to see good conservative candidates go in 2010, people that represent the people, and I think that's, whether hopefully they're from the GOP. If you find some independents that are doing that, I want to bring them on the show too. So if you're listening tonight, give me a call, 347-996-3175. I want to hear from you. I'm going on to Twitter right now to check. I think I might also do a quick Ustream broadcast here the last half hour. What we got here on Twitter? All right, I enjoyed my interview. And if you're not following already, I recommend you following Randall 4NC, which is his Twitter username. Look up Bill Randall. You'll also find him on there. So it's a great story. His website, you can find out all the information about him. And I also encourage you to look at the information on Brad Miller. Very interesting. 13th District of North Carolina. He's one of the more liberal congressmen in D.C. So I encourage you to check out Randall 4NC. That's the username on Twitter, and check out his website, Randall for Congress. And it's a great story about a great patriot. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. I want to hear from you out there in America. If you're listening, Vanessa out in Baltimore, give me a call. I want to hear from you. I want to hear if anybody's got anything to say about Sarah Palin and how much trouble she's starting out here. She went to the Tea Party convention. I heard she got mobbed this weekend at the Daytona 500. She got the biggest reception of anybody at the Daytona 500. And again, we were talking about this before. It connects with the fact she connects with the people. So I want to hear from this evening, 347-996-3175. Other issues we're going to talk about that we got here. If anybody is interested in knowing about your local candidates and your local reps and your congressmen, I encourage you to check out the website votesmart.org. It gives you all the information you could ever want to know about your local representatives, and you can find out exactly what they voted on, all the key issues. So it's a great resource of information, votesmart.org. Starting up next month also, I'm going to be doing a Fix Michigan Monday show. We're going to be focusing on some candidates running for different positions throughout the state of Michigan. The name of the show is Fix Michigan Mondays. And again, we're going to try to bring candidates on from both sides of the aisle to maybe better give a clearer understanding of what they can do to make Michigan better and what we can do to get Michigan in a better place. That's where I'm from. That's my state, and that's what I'm concerned about. I've had a few people ask me, was I interested in political office, and I'll be honest, right now, I just don't think that is something I would want to do because of the fact that it just seems like when you become part of that political process, sometimes you become part of the problem, and you can't. Again, from what I've seen, I can't say that that's what I would do, but I just think that right now, from the position I'm in, I'd rather try to keep all these politicians accountable for what they're doing, and down the road, if that's something that will present itself, then that would be something I obviously would have to talk over with my wife and pray on it and decide if that's something I want to do, similar to what Mr. Randall said, because that excuse me, that does change your life, and the fact that you spend a lot more time traveling and you're not able to be with your family. So that's something down the road that I'll have to look at and consider. But right now, I'm happy just doing my radio show, providing a voice for the people. And this is a show for the people. So give me a call, 347-996-3175. I want to hear from you. We've got a call here. I'm going to take this call. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing? This is Joffrey Hurlbert again, calling back from North Carolina.
How you doing?
Hey, I just wanted to give your listeners my Twitter.
Go right on ahead. Let me and I'll write you. I'm gonna make sure I got everything. Go ahead. What's your Twitter username? And if you got a website, go ahead and give it out.
NC Senate 14.
NC Senate 14. That's
yep,
Twitter.
NC.
At your Twitter username, NC Senate 14.
Yep, NC Senate 14.
All right.
And then all I have is a Facebook group page right now, but the link is right there on the Twitter page.
All right. Okay. Well, let me hold on real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up for people here and check the Twitter page out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Facebook is like Hurlbert for NC Senate 14. But I just want to tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing with your program, and I wanted to draw that distinction again about the district court making decisions standing in the way of fathers being in their children's lives. And it's like there's Bill Randall was talking about the multitude of social programs
mm-hmm.
that are inherent in the current system to handle the ills and the different things that they say are going to make a difference for these communities. But I'm telling you, the current research, all of the data that's been done in the last 10 years points to one single thing, and that is make sure that both parents have an intimate relationship and are involved in their children's lives.
Yeah, I'm looking at your Twitter page right now. If you're listening, follow at NC Senate 14. It says that you're a single father, community organizer, PTA member, and researcher working to positively impact children's lives and affect government with common sense conservatism. So that's it. How old are your children, or how old is your child?
Oh, I have a daughter. She's 8, and a son is 6.
Okay, all right. And so obviously, parental rights is an issue with you, right?
Yes, very much. Custodial dispute in custody. One of the things that doesn't get a lot of time in the media, but is one of the issues that we're trying to make a positive impact on, is related to those custody issues that come up in the district courts, and that has to do with the inherent money system. It's you can call it the divorce industry. You can call it, it entails the guardian ad litem and the custody evaluators and the attorneys and the judges, and there's a whole multi-billion-dollar industry that is devoted to separating children from their parents.
Okay. Yeah, it's very, it almost it's not even uncommon anymore that's the practice too.
Yeah, these interests are entrenched, but what the tool that they use to separate children from their parents, they call it the best interest standard, which you're probably familiar with.
Basically meaning the best interest is for the child to be with the mother or something like that.
Well, they provide a whole slate of best interest things that they need to look at, but if you dig into the district court rulings, you'll find that a lot of the time they're just arbitrary reasoning to make sure that, they provide some type of findings in fact to support an unequal responsibility time sharing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just so everybody knows, I just joined on Facebook. I'm becoming a fan right now. And let's see here, Jeffrey. Just joined you on there. And again, all my people listening, and I'll put you on Twitter. I see you're on there. I will let everybody know. NC14. Give you a follow, your username right here on Twitter. Definitely, what I like to do, you follow. It says you file for when is your races for Senate? When did you decide to get involved?
I decided to get involved right after New Year's. I was going to run in 2008, but I realized that you had to be a member of the Republican Party officially for 30 days before you could run for office here in North Carolina. So I prepared all through 2009 to put in my name for this year.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, one of these nights, so we'll definitely have to get you to come back on the show. We'll talk about your candidacy and talk about some ways with all the different your belief system. And I appreciate, like I said, I just became a fan of you on my Facebook page, so you'll see me on there. And I appreciate you calling in for the show, and I appreciate you for listening. Hope you'll listen in again.
I will. Thank you, Wayne Bradley. I'll be in touch.
All right. You have a good day. God bless you.
God bless you, too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. That is Jeffrey Hurlbert, NC Senate 14. You can find him on Facebook, and you can also find him on Twitter at NC Senate 14. So we had a double dose of North Carolina tonight. Bill Randall was my featured guest, and I really appreciate him for coming on this evening. Thanking him right now on Twitter. He said he enjoyed his interview with the Great Patriot. Now, you are the Great Patriot, sir. I am, again, simply trying to spread the word of people like yourself that are great patriots. And, I believe in trying to spread the candidacy of people that are for the people. And sometimes, again, it just takes us through the internet and things like this where the word is coming across and people are getting the message that these are the people. It's not just exactly about the money, because the problem is, like what Bill was saying, is raising money is such a focal point that the people, we have to, on the ground level, we have to get more involved, and we have to, and if it talks about donate money, donate $5 or $10, get involved with the candidate in your area that you feel like is best representing you and representing the people, and understand that even with Bill Randall in North Carolina, if he becomes a member of Congress, his rules and his votes affect the rest of the country. So just like with John Dennis out in California tomorrow, realizing that he will be going against Nancy Pelosi, like I said, his vote is just as important as anyone else. So we have to get behind candidates throughout the country that are for the people, and I'm all for that. I'm all for spreading that message. So if you're listening in tonight, people from all over the country, give me a call. Let me know what you're thinking of the show. Let me know what you thought of our guest Bill Randall. Like I said, my goal is to at least once a week bring on a good quality guest that's running for office throughout the country or possibly already in office, to explain what we can do to get the country in a better position. What are their ideas on different ideas on positions, and I look forward to that opportunity. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. That's the call-in number. We've got about 20 minutes left on our show for tonight. I'm going to be trying to get down to North Carolina, and again, I hope that Bill's at the Frederick Douglass Foundation meeting in D.C. next month. I'll be there also. I know Les Phillip will be there and a few others. It's really important that that we find candidates that are for the people, because at the end of the day, we don't need any more of these seasoned veteran politicians sometimes, and not to say that all of them are like that, because there are definitely some great candidates with experience, but overall, as right now, we need people that really are trying their best to represent the people. So I think that the candidates so far that I've brought on the show are those kind of people, and I will continue to try to do that with my show and with my medium of bringing you quality conservatives that are willing to stick to the Constitution, and willing to do the things that, it might be some tough decisions in the future that have to be made, but people that are willing to do that to put our country in a better position. I think that from the standpoint of our party, we're going to really have to step up again, like I was saying earlier, with the leadership. They can't stand pat in decision and feeling like that they have so much to not do until election time, because I think that would be a grave mistake of playing the game of politics until then, to not make any decisions and not getting stuff done. So let me see here what's going on Twitter. Thanks, D, for real. Thanks for giving me a retweet on that. Is that Willie Lawson too? Willie Lawson is one of the someone again who I look up to just for because I was looking at Blog Talk Radio when I was first starting my show, and he was one of the people I knew that had a show on Blog Talk Radio. So Willie Lawson, thank you for retweeting for me, and like I said, I appreciate. You're the kind of people, again, I look up to you as role models and people that I can gravitate to. So thank you again, just for even retweeting this evening. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. Again, this show is strictly, we got about 15 minutes left. I want to hear what people have to say about the Sarah Palin this weekend. Apparently, there was also a TV show on The Family Man, I believe it was, that made some kind of crude references to her child. And again, I think that the media and the mainstream people have just gone way over the top with their criticism of Sarah Palin. I think that in a way that kind of arrogance and that kind of lack of foresight is going to play right into the hands of her supporters, because the fact that you're making her to be such a outsider or a pariah to things that she's gonna she'll take that as being anti-establishment, and so I don't know what the overall goal is. I just know that it seems like they pick on her in a way that almost as they're scared of something. So I don't know what they're scared of. I don't know if it's just because she's a normal American that again a lot of people seem to gravitate to, but I don't understand it. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. Got about 15 minutes left on the show, and I am getting ready for my trip to DC. I'm kind of excited about that. Again, I'm looking forward to hearing a lot of the leaders and hearing the things they have to say at the CPAC conference, seeing what direction and what plans they have for 2010 and obviously for 2012. And I'm really looking forward to it. I hope that anyone that's listening, I hope that if you're going, I hope that we tweet and see each other there. Let me know if you're coming out there, and we can meet, sit down, and talk. I look forward to that also. So give me a call, 347-996-3175. It's been kind of quiet tonight. I want to hear what you have to say about. I mean, if you live anywhere on the East Coast or in the Northeast, and if you're like me having a hard time believing in this climate change and global warming, give me a call. I want to know what it's like out there. I'm headed out to D.C. tomorrow, so let me know what the weather's like when I'm getting out there. I want to know. 347-996-3175. And like I said, we got about 14, 15 minutes left here on the show this evening. I'm reading more about the story right now about Family Guy. And again, I'm thinking that show is on Fox. So I don't know how that happens. Yeah, I just don't. It's just disgusting. The the art of the episode of Family Guy features a character named Chris falling for a girl with Down syndrome. On a date, he asks what her parents do. She says, "My dad's an accountant, and my mom is the former governor of Alaska." Wow. Palin's oldest daughter, Bristol, also was quoted from the Facebook page calling them heartless jerks. I just don't understand how that that it's fair to pick on Sarah Palin's family and things like that. Now, again, uh, I don't recommend that. I believe all kids of all political families should be off limits. Not unless, again, you got someone like Meghan McCain who's willing to interject herself, obviously, into the political realm. But she's a grown woman at this point, so she can do that. But kids and babies, I mean that's disgusting. And again, you never saw that happening with Bill Clinton. You don't see anyone talking about the president's daughters. And again, I wouldn't want that to happen. I have two daughters myself. I don't see how it's okay for them to pick on Sarah Palin's family. And I wonder how that show got on with that kind of material on it. And again, where are the activists and where are the feminist groups and everybody else, family rights groups, when they're talking about someone, I guess, that they don't mind them talking about? I guess it's okay. So it's very unfortunate situation. And again, I don't see how. Is there any decorum? Where is it somewhere where your kids are left out of it? I would have a real, I would I would have a real problem if someone was doing that with my children, whether they had any kind of health issue or not. I believe that you have to keep the kids should be out of it. That's why right now you can't get good people to get involved in politics. I mean, who wants to put their family through something like that? I mean, those are the kind of things, when I'm talking to people, um, those are the kind of things you have to consider when you get involved in politics now. I think that's very unfortunate because, um, again, we're missing out. We might be missing out on some real quality people that decide they don't want to get involved because they don't want to have to put their families through the personal ringer and maybe subject their kids and their family to things um, that they wouldn't have to go through if mommy or daddy or whoever's not running for some kind of political position. I think that's very unfortunate. I just got to thank you here for the new media. NC Cent 14. You're welcome. Again, this is to me is the only way that I can actually get my opinions out in a way where hopefully people are listening, and also where I can make some sort of difference to people. And I really think that this is the way to go. I'm hoping that I'll have some quality guests come on while I'm down at CPAC. I can tell you that I do all this on my own, people. I'm running the radio show. I get the answering the switchboard. So sometimes if it takes a little longer for me to catch a call, if you're on hold for a while, it's because I'm actually probably doing the interview right then. So I'm working hard to again provide the people here um, a voice, and also know that there's someone out there that's right there along with them within this the struggle that we're going through in America. Um, I'm not a wealthy man of it by any means. I just, like I said, I just have faith that what I'm doing is the right thing, so I'm gonna continue to do it. But it's important that we as people, our power is in numbers, just the same way as in voting. The power is in numbers is to hold these politicians responsible. That's why I respect the Tea Parties and the Tea Party movement. Um, Not everything about that, just like with any other organization or anything else, is perfect. But the idea of what the Tea Party is doing and the noise and the ruckus that some of these, the establishment parties have has been caused by it, I think is good. I think that from a standpoint with Democrats and Republicans, both sides have they've taken their voters for granted, which translate they've taken all of our votes for granted. So it's both sides of the coin. I think right now is a great time to. I believe the Tea Parties overall will, for the most part, vote with the Republicans if they give them good conservative candidates. I think that that's where we have to step up our effort. We have to get conservatives and Republicans that are for smaller government, not spending. Um, Maybe we need to put more restricted term limits on these guys, so they're not looking to this as to be a career move. Career politicians are bad for our country in a lot of aspects because these guys are just soaking up the DC culture, and it's that kind of culture where they feel comfortable to make $300 million buyout deals on healthcare bills right in your face because no one is really calling them out on it. Now it was a little easier to do that with in particular with that healthcare bill, but believe me, there's been a lot of stuff like that that's gone on for the last 10, 20 years in D.C. and forever, honestly, but for in particular the last 20 years, it just the corruption in D.C. has just come to I would say is reaching a peak where it's disgusting the average American to see what's going on. That would be the best way I could put it. It disgusts people to see politicians play games back and forth with whoever's in power. The other side kind of holds out and doesn't cooperate, and the only people that are really losing in this kind of battle are the American people. It's not them or the other guys, because they're playing the game to keep their job, and I think that's where a lot of these, where we've got it wrong with these politicians is the fact that they're only thing they're trying to do is keep jobs once we get them in. They're not looking at why we put them in the first place, and they also forget very quickly. They forget very quickly the people that actually put them in that job in the first place. It's because of the people on the ground, the grassroots people, the people that you're going out visiting that voted you in, that you have this nice, comfortable job in D.C. and you're flying in and out of town every week, and you get to go all these nice places that lobbyists and big companies provide for you. The reason you have that job, though, again, is a lot of times it has to do with the people that actually voted you in. Um, Now, again, it would be naive of me to believe that big businesses and business people aren't helping those politicians too with as far as raising funds. But the real issue is that those funds would all sit in a coffer if people don't actually vote for you. If you don't convince the people and you're not making the connection with the people to actually vote for you, that money will get all spent on advertising, consulting, and marketing, and people still will not vote for you. I mean, Ross Perot and a whole host of other wealthy men have got involved in politics and self-financed their own campaigns. And at the end of the day, it was because they weren't connecting with the people enough, or not putting themselves in that line of where they are connecting with the people, that they end up wasting a lot of money on campaigning without properly doing the things that they need to do to connect with the people. And I think that probably is the most dangerous thing with Sarah Palin, is the fact that she does connect so well with the American people. So I've got about 4 minutes left. We had a quiet night tonight. I hope people were listening in for the interview. 347-996-3175. We've got about 5 minutes left here. And if you like the excuse me, if you like the show this evening, give me a call or shoot me a tweet or anything else. I'm setting up a email address just for all my friends here on Twitter to start shooting me emails. The address is twitterfam@conservatiscool.com. I've made some recent updates on the website, and I know I've probably said it before on the radio show. I'm going to put more of a commitment to at least once a week, twice a week, trying to put in some really good thought-provoking blogs. It gets real. I'm busy with the show, and I also working in the real estate, having a real estate company. I stay busy, but I'm going to commit more time to actually putting more into thought-provoking blogs and posts. I'm looking forward to having some other notable guests. I want to try to keep them under wraps until I get confirmation dates, but I can tell you that going down to the CPAC conference, I'm hoping to really get some very credible guests. I'll say it online, and I hope that I see him, or I hope he's listening, or his people are listening. Alan West, I want to see you when I get down to CPAC. I will be at your symposium on 10 a.m. on Friday, but I hope to get you on the show while we're down there. I want to thank everyone again that's listening on the show. I want to thank Bill Randall for coming on the show. I want to thank all my guests that I've had come on in the past month. I want to thank Les Phillip, Mark Lamont Hill from Fox. And so I appreciate everybody listening. I think I got a caller here. I think I know who this is, so I'm going to take this real quick call here. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello, Wayne. I just want to tell you to have a good trip, a safe trip, and can't wait for you to get back and tell us, what you heard, what you saw, about your conversations. I'm looking forward to next week's show.
Thank you very much, Mom.
You're welcome, son. You have a good trip.
All righty, I will, and I'll definitely talk to you before I leave. Thanks for calling in. I was getting lonely here. I got 2 minutes left. Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome. I didn't realize that you started early tonight. So I'll have to get.
I started early whenever I have. I'll call you and let you know. I start early whenever I have my interviews some nights, because a lot of people don't want to come on at 10 o'clock. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, let me know.
Let me know. Do that next time.
Okay.
Thank you for calling in. I'll give you a call before I leave out for D.C. tomorrow.
Okay. Please do.
All right. Love you.
Love you too, hon. Bye-bye.
That was my lovely mother calling in. Appreciate moms for calling in and listening for support. I have an awesome mom. Pretty cool. Again, leaving out for DC tomorrow, so I will keep you updated. I'm going to do some live Ustream broadcasts. I might do a show or two based on who I can commit to giving me either candid interviews right there on the scene, or maybe even later, whether it be at a lounge or somewhere in the hotel. I want to bring some interviews while I'm down there. I hope, like I said, I hope to talk to a few people, maybe Alan West. Again, these are people running for Congress in different areas that, again, will affect the outcome of votes throughout our country. So just because they're not locally, as far as what state you're in, do not discount the importance of these people running for these positions in other states. They do affect the direction overall of our country. So these races all over the country are very important. And I hope, like I said, I hope to bring some other people on here that can shed more light on these votes. I've got some people in mind, but I won't let the cat out the bag or give up any names until I get some confirmations out here. So, thank you for everybody that's been listening. Like I said, I keep me in your prayers while I'm in DC. Hopefully, have a trip. And if you get a chance, check out the website conservativeschool.com. Thanks again for listening. God bless you, and good night.